Hello everyone, we are here for the 7th session of the CodeRunner series, and today's topic is programming with queues, simple queue services in AWS, and Fatih is here.
Hello and welcome.
And today's we are the second half of the series. We finished this already 6th session, and we have another 6th session to complete the series. And programming queues is an essential part of a developer's tools. And AWS provides us a simple queue services. And today we are going to try to explain what is simple queue services and how to code using this platform service in AWS. And we're going to have a slide set, and after the presentation we will have a demo. So let's start.
First, we have to switch the...
Okay, let's switch the scene for you. And...
Yep.
So, today's agenda is the introduction of the simple queue services, and after that we're going to try to show you simple queue services in the AWS console, and how to create a queue, how to list, how to configure, add permission in the AWS console on your browser. And there are a few properties of AWS queue services, and there is a concept called visibility timeout. We try to explain what is visibility timeout for a queue, and I'm going to show you the message lifecycle, and the last one is how to program simple queue services, how to list a queue, how to add a message, send a message, using C# in our .NET environment. And the last one, the demo. In the demo, we will show you list queues and send message. For this reason, we are gonna create queues in console, and we are gonna write functions, lambda functions, and to list and send messages. The main code, the core code, will be in the lambda functions. And we're going to create API gateway to call the functions in a client. And the last one, we are going to write a console application as a client to send messages and list queues at the end of the demo. So let's start. What is SQS? SQS is a fully managed platform services to create a queue without dealing with the infrastructure stuff. You just create as a queue in your console in just one screen, and then you have a distributed queue services. And you can use this queues at any scale microservices of yours, and in any of your software components. For example, you can manage a queue from your web application, or from your desktop application, or your mobile applications. You can use queues any of your software technologies. And using simple queue services, you can send message, list queues, delete a message, and whatever your scale, whatever your message size is, it scales, the service scales in the platform services.
Automatically scales it.
Yeah,
itself.
So you don't have any risk to lose my message. You don't have to worry about something like that, because it scales automatically and horizontally. And so you know that it's always available for you. There are two types of simple queue services. the one is standard, and the second one is FIFO queues. What is the difference? The difference is the order of the message processed by the service. What is the processed order? In the standard, the processed order is actually there is no order. The service try to show a best effort to get the which one I should process now. So you see you see in the presentation on the left side, the messages are coming with the different orders, and the queue service process them. Which one
comes first? It's not always comes first, but
no.
There's the service tries to order them, but not at the same time, because you can see in the slide actually. In the FIFO queue, there's an order 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 5 items ordered specifically, but in the standard queue, the first item comes first is 3. After that, count 5. So there is not an order. Don't trust that, but it tries the best.
If you need first in, first out algorithm, you should create FIFO queue. The queue services ask you which type of queue you want to create in the console. There is a limit for the throughput, 300 transactions per second. It can process 300 transactions per second. So if you keep in this limit, the queue service guarantees that the first in and first out. And when you open the console, you see that in the first one you see the 4 screenshot. In the first one, you see your queues. In the second one, there are some actions you can manage with your queues, configure it, add a permission, and delete a queue, view messages, etc. And you can test and send a message in the second screenshot. In the third one, you can view and delete your messages, what size of your message. And the fourth one, you can delete it as you wish in this console. So there are some properties of the queues. When you create it, you can change this in a configuration page. The first one is message order, standard or FIFO, and the second one is other queue settings that you see in the presentation. For example, default visibility timeout. I'm going to try to explain it in the next slide. And for example, you can configure your maximum message size, so you can limit the message come to the queue as your clients need. You can put a delivery delay, or you can set a message wait time from the console. I'm going to show you this in the demo in AWS console, by the way. So there is a visibility timeout property. It's the first settings in the screen. What is visibility timeout? Visibility timeout is if there is more than one client, the one client for your queues to process the messages. First one, take the message, process it. And the second one shouldn't process again. So if one client take it and process it, the second one shouldn't see that message. So you can set up a visibility timeout, and queue service won't show that message, won't give that message. The other client So and you are responsible to delete when you finish with that message. If you don't delete that message after the visibility timeout, the other client can take that, see that message and process again.
Visibility timeout is actually how much you're gonna spend, how much time you're gonna spend with that item in your maybe job or something. If you're gonna process that item for about 1 minute, you have to set the visibility timeout to 1 minute.
Maybe more than
1 minute. Yeah. 1.5 maybe. Because the other clients should not see that message because you're processing that at that time.
So it's an important setting. If your task in the queue is resizing an image, and you observe that resizing a biggest image that you can have is 30 seconds. So it's better that you set this visibility timeout maybe 40 seconds or 45 seconds as your example. And there's an SDK to write code in your .NET project called AWS SQS. So we should first get that NuGet package in your project, and then you can have a programming interface that you can write this create queue, send message, receive message, or delete message codes. You see a send message sample code here, and we're gonna write code in our demo. So I'm gonna skip this presentation. So it's time to have a demo. Let's go to AWS console and create our queues, and then start writing codes. Okay. First of all, we have to let's change the scene by the way.
To create the queues.
I opened the AWS console. I'm in the Ohio region, and in services menu, I write SQS, and there comes simple queue service. And a screen is welcome to us, and we should click the get started now, and write down your queue name. And my first queue name is compliant. My region is US East 2 Ohio, and I can choose my queue type, standard queue or default. Compliance have you want to correct that. A FIFO queue name must end with the FIFO suffix. So I'm going with the standard queue. So compliant name is okay for this purpose. For this purpose, I don't configure this queue. I'm gonna quick create this queue, and I can have a second queue, and its name is inquiry.
I think it's fine. Inquiry, maybe, but
no, it's okay.
It's not.
And let me quick create this second queue. And now in my queue list, I see compliant and inquiry, and messages available is the message that you take this queues. And in the a little bit below, you see tabs here, and the permission is important for this queue management, we have to add permission to grant some actions for your users. And for example, if you want to give access to send a message, we have to add a permission here. And let me add permission for the demo purposes. I'm gonna give everybody for the all actions, but in the real life you have to create a specific account for this reason, and that account you have to give what actions you need. Yeah. For example, if you need send message and get queue URL, and so you can just choose this actions. So in this demo, I'm gonna choose everybody and all SQS actions and add permission for the compliant queue.
Don't do that at your own.
Yeah. We don't use a production environment in this kind of configuration. Okay. So I have my queues, and now I need to write the list queue and send message codes. Mm-hmm. So where can I write this code? We use serverless architecture for this reason in a .NET Core environment. Mm-hmm. So let's create a project in a AWS Lambda project type, and write our two functions in this Lambda functions project. One function is gonna list these two queues, complaint and inquiry, and the second function will send a message. So we open a new Visual Studio 2017 project. If you are not familiar with writing codes in AWS Lambda, you can watch our previous sessions.
Fourth,
maybe 3, 4, or 5. Yep. You can find it in our playlist in our YouTube channel. So I need to create a new project, file new project. And in the template screen, I'm going to choose AWS Lambda from left, and AWS Lambda project.NET Core, and let me change the name. SQS dot queue functions.
Yep.
SQS dot queue functions. And okay, I'm going to create an empty function, and I will write my own functions, own code. And the first function is gonna be list queues, and I will be waiting to see compliance and inquiry names as a result of my methods execution. But first of all, we have to add a NuGet package for AWS SQS. So for this reason, open the Solution Explorer, right-click your project, and manage NuGet packages. And in the Browse tab, AWS SQS
SDK. SQS.
AWS SDK.SQS.
Yeah.
Yay. The first one is AWS SDK.SQS. It got approximately 2 million downloads. And install it, and then we also need Newtonsoft JSON
to serialize objects.
Yep. So after the installation is completed, I'm gonna add Newtonsoft, and that's all we need to before start writing code. And Newtonsoft.json.
Okay.
Yes. And install.
I think the scenario here is that you are receiving complaints from your customers, right?
In this scenario, people have some complaints. There is a form in a web form in a web project, and people create his inquiry. For example, I have a complaint about the air condition in our office, and write it down his offer or his suggestion, and then complete the form. And this form calls Lambda functions, and Lambda functions inserted to the queue service.
Okay.
And a queue is going to process this inquiries. Mm-hmm. And when an inquiry is completed processing, it may be inserted in a separate database as a result with the result of the complaints. Okay. So the scenario is near like a real life. So our NuGet packages are ready.
Okay.
Let's open the function CS code file, and let's
write our functions.
Yay. Now
all right.
There is a default function named function handler. Mm-hmm. Let's change its name. I'm gonna copy it, and
it acts up. So
Visual Studio is not responding right now. It's gonna okay in a few minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna copy the function and name it list queues.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. List queues, and I'm gonna remove all the parameters.
It's wrong actually.
Yeah.
Queues. Yeah.
Yeah.
That I think it's right. Yeah.
And we need some namespaces to add. Let's add this namespaces using Amazon and .SQS.
Yeah,
maybe there is a
no, actually it's SQS.
Yeah. IntelliSense problems.
Yeah, acts up.
Amazon.SQS.model, and this namespace convention is nearly standard for all of the Amazon SDKs. So we need to add this to namespace, and then for the serialization purposes, we need to add Newtonsoft.
Actually, let's build.
Yeah, I think maybe fix this problem.
Yeah.
I'm gonna build it now.
It will restore the packages.
Yeah.
Okay. I think something is
yeah, build failed. Input does not exist. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. Now.
Because we deleted.
Yeah.
Oops.
I'm gonna return an empty string for now. I'm gonna change it and then build again. Yes, build succeeded, and let's try to use the IntelliSense. It may be a problem for this SDK, maybe for SQS. Visual Studio and this SQS SDK integration, there may be a problem because we don't have any problem with the other Amazon AWS SDKs. Okay, let's continue. We need to list the queues and let's write down a client. The client name is Amazon SQS client. And okay, let's instantiate this. Let me build it to try the. Yeah, it's built. If I
change that.
Yeah, I'm gonna change the object's name. Yeah, build failed. So it doesn't find this input. So the SDK is over there. And
it's not showing itself.
Yeah, but okay. Let's write on my on like writing on a notepad. List queues response. Yeah. So we have to create a response object. By the way, we're gonna use async methods in our Lambda function. So let's await it, and in the client object, there is a method named list queues async.
Yeah.
And list queues async takes a parameter, but we don't have any filter in this code, so I'm gonna keep it empty and
let's build.
Okay, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. Yeah, build is succeeded.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of hard
to write it down.
Okay, now there is a response here, and let's use this response. And there are a queue URLs in the response. It returns us all the queues in this queue URLs property, and we need to
actually the queue URLs like the names itself returns the URLs of the queues. So we just want the queue name. This will give us something like /queue name. So we have to split it first, substring it first, and get the rest of the string that will give us the queue name. So I think it's alright.
Yeah, I'm gonna take all the different queues in writing this link query, and then in this demo I'm gonna join this queues and put a sharp icon between this queue names. So let's add another parenthesis. Yeah. And this is my queue list. So let's return this queue. as a result of this method.
Yes. So we have a list with queue names separated with sharp.
Yeah. There is a
Error. So
it's just a
yes.
and this should be this should return something like this.
Complaint and
Complaint sharp inquiry.
Yeah, we have to see something like that.
Yeah.
In our
And because the QURLs have complaints and inquiry, and then I'm going to put the sharp between them and return it. So in our client have this kind of result. So we need to write a second method to test how to send a message. So the default message is here, function handler. Let's change the name of this method as send message, and the first parameter is string. I don't use string here. I need two property. One is which queue do you want to send a message, and the second one, what is your message. So I'm going to create an object.
A model for it.
Yeah. And let's call it a queue message model.
Yeah.
And the first one is queue name, and the second one is
Messages itself.
message. So this send message, take queue message model as a parameter. Input. Yeah. And now I'm gonna write this code to send message. First of all, I need the same client object that I use in the list queues.
There's a typo actually.
Yeah. Okay. SQX client. Yep. And second one, in the client, there is a method named send message async. But this send message async has a parameter which should be in type of send message request. So we need to prepare this send message request. By the way, again, this should be an async message, and let's change our method signature as async and the return type to task string. And yeah, the send message async need a send message request object. And send message request has two
Fields to fill.
property, and one is message body, and we have the message body from the parameter in the input of message, and the second one is a QURL request QURL. And but this QURL is different from the queue name.
Yeah.
We don't know yet the QURL, so we have to ask it to the queue service, what is my URL for this queue with this name. So I have the name and I have to find the QURL. So let's call over the client object get
Q.
URL async. And give this method to the Q name. So it returns a get request URL response. Get request URL response. Oops. And let's await it. Yeah. So I have the Q URL now, and give it to URL response dot Q URL. Yeah. Now my send message request object is ready here, and pass as a parameter to send message async. Yeah.
Yes.
And
lastly,
we can return a successful message here, and our client software can understand that message sent successfully. Message sent successfully. Let's build it.
Failed because get request URL is get Q URL response.
Yeah. Without IntelliSense,
yeah,
I think it's a
that's the best we can.
Yeah, understandable error. Good. Yeah, build succeeded. So our functions, Lambda functions, are ready. We need to publish, deploy it,
and test if it works
or
not.
Yeah, I'm excited to test. So right-click to the project and click the publish to AWS Lambda. And make sure that your region and your profile is the same with the Visual Studio under the View menu in AWS Explorer. And
RQs is in the
created in this region.
Yeah.
I create the two queues in the United States, not West Oregon. I created Ohio.
Yeah.
So
remember that because
otherwise the SDK couldn't find the queues in that region. So make sure that they are the same. Language runtime can keep .NET Core 2.1, and let's write a function name. First of all, let's deploy the list queues, and our method name should be the same with the function CS in the some function CS list queues. I need to make sure that send message. I think it's list queues. Yeah. The method name should be the method name in your function CS file, and next. In the next screen, we have to give the credentials to the user which is deployed to the AWS Lambda. And in this demo, I'm going to use AWS Lambda full access. Maybe you can try, there is a specific role according to the SQS, AWS Lambda SQS queue execution role. Maybe you can use it to give only the needed role. But in this demo, I'm going to use AWS Lambda full access and keep the other configuration same, and clicked upload, and we need to repeat these steps for the other Lambda function, send message. This process only is going to only publish list queues function. We're going to repeat it to deploy the send message. It's publishing.
All right. Let's start packages. Let's hope that this will work. Yes.
And there will be a screen after the upload complete, and in the screen we can test our function if it is deployed successfully.
All right. I think it will install some
Runtime packages now. It took more time than I thought, but I think it's gonna complete successfully. It's just make it slowly.
I think I know why it's like that. Because I formatted my computer.
And?
And that's why I think it's takes some time to build.
What, before format?
We published some of the packages before, so I'm gonna be honest. Opening the what file? What are you gonna do?
I wonder which file is on. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay. Let's call the invoke for the test purposes. And we should see. Yeah. We should see our two queues and as a response, and as we waited. There is a sharp letter between two queue names. So the first function is deployed successfully. Let's deploy the second one, publish to AWS Lambda, and let's name it send message, and the method name should be the method name in your function CS file. Next, and in the role, as a role name, we're gonna give the same existing role. I can choose the existing role to execute the list queues, or I can choose the Lambda function, Lambda full access again.
And create another role for it.
And it doesn't matter. Let's publish it.
This will be quick, I think.
Okay. And after this functions uploaded, we are gonna go to the AWS console and create API gateways to open these Lambda functions to the public. By the way, we can start it for the list queues, actually. Let's go to the AWS console, and I'm gonna return here. Oh, it finished. So it's okay. I don't test it here. I'm gonna test it as a console application, in a console application, writing API gateway call codes. So let's go to the AWS console oops, sorry. Here, yeah. And in the services, create API gateway, choose API gateway, and we have to create two API here. And both APIs calls our Lambda functions. Let's click the Create API button, and new API. The API name is, first one, list queues API. Endpoint is regional. Create API. And in the actions button, we're going to create a method. It asks us if your API post, use post or get or something else. I'm going to use post for both APIs. And in the post method, what is the integration type? My integration type is Lambda function here, and the region is the same. Ohio is 2, and my Lambda function is list queues. So it's gonna autocomplete from the Lambdas deployed in the AWS and in Ohio region. I choose the list queues and click save. And in the permission message, I'm going to click OK, and it's going to be deployed. Yeah, my post method is created. Now it's ready to deploy. Look, there comes here the method request and response, and let's deploy the API in the actions. And there's one more step here. You know that we deploy our APIs to a stage, and I'm going to deploy it to a dev stage for now. All APIs are deployed in a stage. You can use the stage dev, test, and production, etc. So now we have our invoke URL for our Lambda functions using the API gateway. And I'm going to repeat the steps to create the API gateway to send message Lambda function. So I return to the API gateway main page, click Create API, New API, and
we're gonna name
it Send Message API. By the way, I don't use this API in our demo, so it may be. I don't need to create actually, but we start it and finish it.
Are we gonna post a?
Just it will be okay. Just send message only one queue, for example, compliant. Okay. In Lambda function, let's choose send message, save it, okay. And after this method is created, we're going to see here how to request this post API and what will be the send message. And in the action tab, it's ready to deploy API. Which stage? It will be dev and deploy this API. So now we have two API gateways, and there are two different URLs for two different API gateway, which calls separate Lambda functions. Okay, now we are ready to call this API gateway and list our queues and send message from a client application. So we return to the Visual Studio 2017, and we have a Q functions project. In the solutions, I click right click, add new project, and I'm gonna choose .NET Core. And as a client application, I'm going to choose console application. So let's name it SQS.client terminal.
Yep.
Okay. And now in the client application, the only thing we have to do is writing, calling a post code. So I'm gonna use a web client in here, and I need to Newton soft again. So let's make this client terminal set as startup project, and then manage NuGet packages and add a Newton soft library. Yep. Especially in the send message test, we're gonna write an object, and then we need to serialize it.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, there is a model.
Yeah, Q name and the message.
It contains Q name and message. So okay, let's build the project and. See if there's an error. Yeah, build succeeded. So first of all, I'm gonna call lists URL, list queues. So for this reason, I'm gonna create web client. Web client in should be system.net. Namespace, and in client object, I'm going to use upload string. You can use upload string for your basic post need. So in to list queues, let's write here. Oh. We need to find the URL in our API gateway. And where is the list queues API? Yeah, list queues API here. And let's go to the stages. Dev, under the dev, we have a post URL, and yeah, here it is, our invoke URL. Copy it. And the second parameter of the upload string is your message body, and in the list queues we don't have any parameter in our function, as you remember. And let's
that will give us the queue names.
Yeah, it should give us the queue names, and in the queue names we are expecting to names between sharp letter. So
we're gonna have to parse that.
Yeah, I'm gonna first of all there will some
codes.
Yeah, codes. So let's replace it with the empty function, empty characters, and then split it according to the sharp character. It takes sharp as params. So as a second parameters, I can use string split options and tell it
Remove empty.
Yeah, remove the empty entries. So it returns an array. And it will contain our queues. And let's write to the screen in a loop. And write it down to the console. Let's name it name.
Alright, let's have a look.
And I'm gonna build it, build succeeded, and let's I remember that I set it as a startup project and F5. Yeah, we wait that two queues, compliance and inquiry, on the screen. If everything will be okay.
Let's see.
Yeah,
all right.
Compliant and inquiry is okay. And now I have another demo to send message. And this is this will be to test the send a message. So we need a message body and the queue name. So it's better to create a model object for this reason. And let's create it.
Actually, we will the same
model. So I can copy and paste?
Yeah.
Okay.
Copy and paste where it's possible.
Copy and paste oriented programming. Yep. You can make a library maybe in your real life project?
Don't do that in production.
Okay, let's continue to copy and paste. I need another web client. Here. And I need another client, upload string. Again, it will be a post request, and this URL is different because send message deployed in a different API gateway. So let's go to the send message API in the console, in stages, dev stage, post method, and my invoke URL here. Take it, but this time we have a parameter, so we need to prepare this parameter. I write a model, so let's pass the model. My queue name is compliant, and my message is fix this blah blah blah. And let's be nice and please
say please
fix it. Okay. And we need to pass this model as a JSON.
Yeah, we have to.
So for model serialized and JSON convert to serialized
object
and give model, and we can pass model serialized in our upload string method as a second parameter. Yep. And let's get the result returning this method. And let's remember what is the returning value in the send message. Yeah, message sent successfully. There is a message here, so we can
write that on the console.
Yeah. Just we can write it down.
Building maybe a let's open up the
console
and see if the item comes up.
Yeah. AWS console provides us a screen to monitor the queue for a limited time. You set the timeout and you can say, I'm going to monitor it for example 30 seconds during 30 seconds, and then we can monitor it. Let's open our SQS service, simple queue service, and find our compliant queue. Yep. In the compliant queue, queue actions, we delete messages and don't show this again. Start pulling messages for 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's starting to pull.
Let's. I'm gonna stop it and let's make it to, for example, 90 seconds.
All right.
Start pulling messages and let's run our code. This time my code lists the queues first and then send our message. Please fix this blah blah blah, and let's go to our queue, monitor it. If there is no error, we should see here.
All right.
Hey, please fix this blah blah blah. Yes, sir. Let's go back to our code. Yeah, in the console we see the message sent successfully coming from our Lambda functions. So we are happy to see the result for the first execution. We can stop now. You can always monitor and list the messages from the queue.
And remember to delete after you process that message.
Of course. And then let's return our
slides.
Yeah, presentation. Yeah, we are here.
Oh.
And thank you very much, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And maybe see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. We will have our 8 sessions. Do you remember which topic?
I actually don't.
Yeah, I don't remember too. See you later, Friday at 10 p.m. In the time zone of +3. And bye-bye. Thank you for watching us.
Bye.